What's going on, guys? Apathetic here with all your tips, recommendations, and everything in between. And today we're talking about Trials and how we can best prepare for Trials launch on March 13th so we can give ourselves the best chance of going flawless. Let's get into it. Our first tip to prepare for Trials is to jump into the Elimination playlist. Now I know what you're thinking, Appa, I was a Trials god in D1. Yes, we all were. But I'll happily admit that after playing some Elimination recently, I've picked up some bad habits from game modes like Survival and Control. We aren't used to playing modes where you only have one life and then suddenly you have to be resurrected to be back in the game. The result? We play a lot more aggressive, we play a lot looser and sloppier with our positioning, and we are a lot more aggressive because the risk for so long has been so low. And I know being that aggressive, if I die, it's all good, I'll just spawn back up and take another stab at it. That mentality and sloppiness will not get you far in Trials. Trials is very much about map control, positioning, and playing off that first pick. You have to be used to different scenarios in this elimination environment where it will be a rude awakening. The pace is different and the decision making is different, and we need to get into elimination and adapt, prepare, and hone our decision making before Trials launches. So figure out who your Trials team is going to be and get into elimination and start building back that muscle that maybe you used a lot in D1 and haven't used a while, or maybe are just using for the first time. Our next tip for preparing for Trials is to start grinding Pinnacle rewards and getting your light level as high as possible before Trials launches. As you guys may have heard, Trials is going to be power level enabled, meaning the higher level your light, the more damage you'll be able to do against people who are less light, and the less damage you will take. At the posting of this video, you'll have a couple of days before reset, then an additional week. So essentially 2 weeks to increase your light level as high as possible. Some sources of Pinnacle gear that can drop higher than 960 is the weekly Nightfall and 100k score in the Nightfall. You have the Pit of Heresy dungeon on the moon, Nightmare Hunts on Master difficulty, the Garden of Salvation raid, which gives you up to 5 pieces of Pinnacle gear, your first completion of Legend Sundial, and I'm sure there's some other stuff I'm missing, but I think you guys get the idea. All this is important to help give us as much light level advantage in Trials as possible. Thankfully, the artifact power increase has been disabled, so this isn't quite as crucial as it might have been initially, but every little bit helps, and the power could make the difference in you trading or leaving your enemy with a sliver of health, or you securing the kill and you are the one left with a sliver of health. Another thing to focus on before Trials launches is all about ironing out the parts of our game that are lacking. This is something that requires a lot of self-reflection and honesty. You have to objectively assess your own game and look for holes that need to be addressed. For example, something I'm working on more is to stop always being the lone wolf. This is something that I've had a lot of success with in the past, but when it comes to playing in an elimination game mode, this creates a lot more risk than reward for my team. It makes me very easy to isolate by the other team. So I made an honest assessment and started focusing on being hyper aware of the positioning of my teammates and then positioning myself in accordance with them, which puts me in the best place to support them. Playing more with my teammates also makes my res a lot easier to reach since I'm not out on an island if I get picked. So I would jump into elimination and assess your own gameplay and see if you find yourself consistently being the first pick, are you constantly far away from your teammates, or whatever it is. Maybe you're struggling to win your ones, cool. That means I need to focus on maybe improving my aim or not challenging as much. By doing this, it will help us go into Trials knowing what our tendencies and bad habits are, and that awareness allows us to consciously push against those tendencies and focus more on playing with our team or not challenging or whatever opportunity you may have in your game and make the best decision possible. This next tip is all about honing in on what loadout works best for your playstyle and synergizes most with your team. What I mean by this is figuring out first what weapons you feel give you the best chance to succeed, but also making that decision based on what your teammates are running as well. So if I know my 2 other teammates are both running shotguns, then maybe I want to throw in a sniper to help balance out our team composition, or you could lean the other way and say we're going full aggro and running 3 shotguns and we are all pushing in together. Whatever it is, the most important thing is using a loadout you are comfortable with and practicing with that loadout before Trials launches. So if you're using Thorn for Trials instead of spare rations, then make sure you are rebuilding that muscle memory with Thorn and practicing how to best optimize your playstyle with Thorn and knowing when is a good time to push in for the Remnant and so on. Same thing if you're sniping. I would highly recommend practicing with Revoker because that is probably going to be the best sniper for Trials and will be great for res sniping as well. All this is in the spirit of building that muscle memory and knowing how it's going to synergize with your team. That way, when we jump into trials, we've already been using our loadout for countless hours and we aren't suddenly trying to get comfortable with something we haven't used very much. With that, guys, I hope this video helped you figure out what you need to be focusing on to help prepare for the launch of trials. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you please like, share, and subscribe. Also, I am now streaming on Mixer at mixer.com/apathetic. So if you've enjoyed my streams in the past, you can find me over there. That's where I'll be streaming and helping to try and build the directory for Destiny 2 over on Mixer. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Falling behind. Show them they can't catch up. Support your bias and educate your opponents on proper marksmanship. Tell them to line up fast. One enemy remains. Catch their breath. Teammate is alone. Let them focus. It's over yet, Guardians. Rally and fight. Support your bias and educate your opponents on proper marksmanship. call